Hello everybody and welcome back to the Theme Park UK YouTube channel. Now you may notice that I am not filming in my usual location when I'm not at the parks. That's because I have moved to university, so this is my new room. And this will unfortunately have a little bit of an effect on my content because obviously I'm going to be quite busy. It's a very big change, so that's why there's not been a video for a few weeks now. But I thought, I'd try and get one out, and today's topic is quite exciting. It is the new development coming to Alton Towers Resort, possibly for 2025, maybe 2026. It's a new indoor development that I'm not sure how many people will have heard about unless you follow like theme park news on Twitter. Now, Alton Towers a few weeks ago were advertising a public consultation for a new attraction at the resort. It's an indoor attraction located on what used to be known as Coaster Corner, which is just near the Dungeons and Williams World as well. Now, they handed out leaflets to the local residents, basically asking if they wanted to come down to a consultation at the resort to give their thoughts and opinions on the new development. Now, this consultation was scheduled for Monday the 19th of September, and due to obvious reasons, this hasn't ended up happening, and a new date will presumably be announced in due course. For this reason, we don't actually have any further details on the attraction apart from the fact that it will be located on the site of the old Coaster Corner and that the attraction will be located indoors. Now, I'm just going to read the poster out. Alton Towers Resort would like you to attend an exhibition about the emerging proposals for a new indoor attraction at the resort. The proposal will involve a new attraction building on the former Mouse site to the west of the World of David Williams and the Alton Towers Dungeon. The new attraction will provide a new experience for visitors and will add to existing attractions at the resort. Several members of the project team will be present to answer questions on the proposals. Now, this is obviously very exciting news, and it seems to be following the same sort of path as Thorpe Park's Project Exodus, which very late last year had their first public consultation where the plans were kind of revealed, and not too long after, the plans were actually submitted to the local council, and the full extent of what the ride was and the intricacies could be seen online. Alton Towers, though, have already submitted a planning application to their local council for this attraction. However, further details such as the actual plans and anything but what we basically know from that leaflet that was sent out to the residents isn't included on the website just yet because the planning application is invalid. And obviously, when that is eventually validated, everything on there will be like it has with previous attractions and Project Exodus as well. Now, it's time for a little bit of speculation. Let's talk about the site in general. So, as mentioned before, it has not contained any rides or been accessible to the public since the early 90s. Despite this, through the 80s and up until that point, the area was kind of known as Coaster Corner. It had three main attractions, being the Four-Man Bob, Alton Mouse and Alton Beast, and other attractions throughout the years. One of the main reasons why this site isn't used anymore is because of noise complaints. If you actually look on the map, the site is quite close to the park border. In my opinion, this means that having an attraction built here indoors makes a lot of sense and isn't really surprising. If an attraction was going to be built in that area, I think it was probably always going to be indoors unless it was a small scale attraction. This is because obviously having it indoors gives them the ability to soundproof the ride a lot more effectively than if it was outside, whether that be the actual. Now, it is actually a very big site. On Twitter, Towers Times, the very popular Alton Towers news site, they posted a screenshot from Google Maps with the Smiler's footprint overlaid onto it, and it shows that the site is bigger than the Smiler's footprint, so it shows that something quite substantial could fit into this area. Now, considering the lack of details that are available, the only details that the park's given us are the fact that it will be indoors and obviously where it will be located. It's quite hard to speculate what the ride might be. Now, recently at a Towers Times Q&A, John Wardley, the designer of many of Alton Towers attractions, especially kind of in the 90s, early 2000s, not so much anymore. He did have a bit of a hand on Wicker Man, but he's retired, although he's retired many times. He hinted at novel technology in the industry coming to Alton Towers, and this was obviously very exciting. People immediately jumped to roller coaster technology because that's, I think, what he's most known for. But I think it could have been something else entirely. It is well known that John Wardley is passionate about dark rides, having created the Haunted House in the 90s the Ghost Train at Barry Island, and also Bubbleworks, as well as many others. And it is possible that his excitement about this new technology could actually be to do with dark rides or some sort of transit system which enables there to be a new sort of dark ride experience. I think if this is a large scale development, if it's not something completely novel, I think it's very possible that this could be the UK's first trackless dark ride. Now, those of you who don't know, trackless dark rides are a fairly new addition to the industry. Basically, it means that I'm not entirely sure how it works, but the ride vehicle is not, it doesn't take a set path. It's kind of more fluid around the room, and it can help create some really exciting and unique interaction with rides. A good example in Europe would be the Ratatouille ride at Disneyland Paris. I've personally done that ride and I was very impressed by it, although I think it did have an over-reliance on screens, and I'm not always a fan of that in dark rides. In my opinion, this could be very possible. It would be quite a big investment for the park. However, with Towers only just investing in a brand new dark ride in Gangster Granny literally right next door, and the fact that they're refurbishing another of their dark rides, Jewel, for next year, I'm not sure how likely it is that their next big investment would be in the dark ride space. Secondly, I believe that a flying theatre could also be possible. Flight of the Skyline at Legoland Windsor opened in 2021 to fantastic reviews, and I've also ridden that myself, and I think it is an incredible ride and something that Towers could benefit from. It could be that Merlin has seen the success of a ride like Flight of the Skyline at one of their parks, and they might have decided to introduce it towards more parks across their ownership. This has been seen before, where Merlin, or previously Two Swords, would bring certain models to different parks. So for example, Rita and Stealth as Intamin accelerators were signed on a 2 deal for Fort Park and Alton Towers, and it's happened with Gerstlauer as well, with the Smiler and Saw, obviously 2 different models, but the same company in a very short time space. I'm not sure if they were signed together or if that was Saw was a success, let's build the Smiler, but it probably was a little bit of both. But finally, I think this could be SW9. Now, for those unaware, Alton Towers uses the secret weapon codename SW in order to refer to their new upcoming, usually groundbreaking attractions before they actually have a name. It's kind of like a teaser program and to get people excited. Usually these include special elements which are sometimes the first in the industry, such as Galactica being the first B&M flying coaster, or the Smiler breaking the world record for the number of inversions. Now, it's always been assumed that Alton Towers' next big investment would be a roller coaster, a secret weapon, after the success of Wicker Man in 2018. And whilst it being indoors would be an interesting decision, it is a genuine possibility. Now remember, realistically the only way that an attraction would be built on this site, anything big anyway, would be indoors, due to the noise issues. And like Nemesis and the Smiler, where they've had to dig down before in order to make a ride work, I could see them doing a similar thing where if they want a ride in this area, instead of digging down, they're just going to have to put a big building around it. And that really wouldn't surprise me at all. Obviously, if they were to do this, they'd have to do some good work with the theming, because just a coaster in the dark in a building wouldn't be very good. But it's a genuine possibility. Now, the only thing is, with it in a building, I'm really not sure what you put in there. Usually, if a coaster's in a building, it's more of a family junior ride. For example, the Walking Dead the ride at Fort Park, Crush's Coaster at Disneyland Paris. There's a few others as well that are usually family rides. But going back to Disneyland Paris, there's also example of, for example, Rock and Roller Coaster, which is now it had a Marvel retheme. I can't remember the name of it. That is indoors, and that includes inversions and Space Mountain as well. So there are good examples of some more thrilling attractions that have been indoors. So I think it is a genuine possibility that SW9 could be in this space. And there's also nothing to say that SW9 might not be a roller coaster at all. Maybe if there's something very innovative like Wardley was suggesting at that Q&A, it could be that they decide to say, you know what, we've got some brand new novel dark ride technology that we're going to put in this building and we're going to call it an SW. There's no reason why that has to be the case. There's never been anything, purely outlining the rules of what a secret weapon is. It could be a dark ride. Now, I think that's, it's quite unlikely if they build a dark ride to put it under the SW umbrella, but it's a genuine possibility. If it's something new, something exciting, something groundbreaking, I think that could happen. But let me know your thoughts in the description. This is all speculation, but in my opinion, I think those 3 things that I've listed there are the most likely. We'll see, I suppose, in a few weeks, whenever they get their consultation done, or whenever they have the plans available to the public online. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Make sure, if you enjoyed the video, to drop a like, and yeah, I'll see you all soon, hopefully in a new video.